And the message that follows is the message brought to Grace United Methodist Church in Dalhart, Texas, on Saturday, the 20th of June. If we are honest about our sacred scripture, we know that the Bible is not a book about perfect people or perfect relationships. In fact, honestly, the Bible is the story of trauma and brokenness. Yet, even in the midst of our broken humanity, we find the story of God's faithfulness, healing, and redemption. In Genesis chapter 21, we heard in verse 10, when Sarah, Abraham's wife, looks out at a young child that she brought about into this world by giving Hagar to her husband Abraham, playing with her son and saying, "Cast out this slave woman with her son." This is where the wound begins. The first act of violence is not the wilderness. The first act of violence is that Hagar disappears. She becomes this slave woman, a problem, an obstacle, an inconvenience. And Ishmael becomes her son. This is how trauma works. Before we abandon people physically, we often abandon them emotionally and spiritually. We rename them: the addict, the criminal, the homeless, the illegal alien, the failure, the divorced person, the diagnosis, the sinner. We stop seeing the sacred story. But the first chapter of Genesis tells us that before we were anything else, we were bearers of the image of God. The church's first healing work is restoring names. Maybe this is why Jesus never seemed interested in labels. The world saw a leper. Jesus saw a person needing touch. The world saw a bleeding woman. Jesus saw a daughter. The world saw tax collectors and sinners. Jesus saw people worthy of a table. Healing begins when people are seen again.